Imagine a quiet house at night. A baby monitor hums softly. A doorbell camera records a stray cat walking across the porch. Every tiny blink of light, every soft tone means data is moving, not just through your home, but across the world. This is your safe space, the place where you let your guard down, where your children sleep without fear of being judged or watched, where adults share moments that were never meant for anyone else. It's supposed to be private, but is it?
We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweigh the dangers which are cited to justify it.
Over the last decade, smart technology has quietly crept into the walls of ordinary homes. Cameras, thermostats, television speakers, even refrigerators. But what data are they collecting? Should they be collecting it? Were you ever truly asked? And are those recordings sitting on the same kinds of vulnerable servers we exposed last time? The ones that held school records, family photos, and in one case, ended in blackmail. This year, researchers estimate there are over 75 billion connected devices worldwide, nearly 10 for every person on Earth, each one quietly collecting, transmitting, and archiving. They're supposed to make life convenient, but the companies behind them have already crossed the most important ethical line, the one between private life, business, and profit. When a device is called smart, it doesn't mean it's thinking. It means it's listening. It's learning you, every habit, every sound, every schedule, and sending it somewhere else. Recording it, cataloging it, every single moment. A smart camera doesn't just watch the front door. It streams footage to someone else's server. One that not only lets you view it from your phone, but can also cut you off from your own data. A smart speaker doesn't just play music. It records voice commands to improve accuracy. And while it's listening for commands, it's recording everything else as well. And I mean everything. A smart thermostat doesn't just adjust temperature. It studies when you're home and when you're not. They tell you not to post that kind of information on Facebook or anywhere else. But here we are, handing it over for digital treats. All that data, your voice, your conversations, your beliefs, your routines, your location, images of you and your family. Even how vulnerable you might be to attack, leaves your house the moment it's created. It travels through routers, service providers, and third-party clouds, built on the same fragile servers we exposed in my last two videos. Remember this, the internet is forever. And at each stop along that path sits an unknown stranger, a stranger you didn't choose, one you'll never meet. Millions of strangers in the street. The real trick of smart technology isn't convenience, it's invisibility. The microphones, the sensors, the automatic updates, you get used to them. They fade into the background until you forget they were ever there. That's the idea, isn't it? That's what they want for you to forget, because that's when you give them the best data, the stuff you never meant to share. But they're still there, always on, always watching. These aren't hypotheticals. Here are just a few examples of the past few months. 3 new advisories exposing how bad things really are. First, the LG Innotek advisory. This report came out on September 30th. The US Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency warned that certain LG Innotek cameras could leak account keys and device data to anyone who knew where to look. Unfortunately, knowing where to look is an industry these days. It's the underworld of the 21st century. Think about that. The cameras you bought to protect your home could be handing out the keys to it, bringing millions of strangers from the street right into your house. Then came Bitdefender's report on Dahua. 126 camera models vulnerable, and the odds seemed really good for the bad guys. and not so good for anyone who bought those cameras. Strangers who don't belong in your home could take full control, change settings, view and record live streams, even silence alerts, without you ever knowing, unless they decide to blackmail you. Or you see yourself or your loved ones on some rogue site you never heard of. And finally, there's the Verisure breach, also from this month. A partner company managing billing data for one of Europe's largest alarm providers passively gave away 35,000 customer names, addresses, and national IDs left exposed to the internet forever. Your trusted vendor just forgetting to lock the door. More nonchalant shrugs. More canned apologies. The same familiar refrain. We take your privacy seriously. And everyone knows how that story ends. They know it will happen again. The cloud. It sounds weightless, but the cloud isn't in the sky. It's a stranger's computer. When your doorbell camera, or worse, your indoor camera, records an event, that file doesn't stay in your house. It leaves. And the moment it does, it's not really yours anymore. It travels across the internet until it lands in a data center for storage. And these days, for AI analysis. Along the way, it may pass through several regions, even several countries, each with the ability to tap, trap, potentially misuse your video and data. Manufacturers depend on this system because it sells convenience. Motion detection. Are you home? Face recognition. Once captured, that data could follow you anywhere. The truth is simple. Once your life's history leaves your house to live on someone else's computer, it's no longer yours. Even when the servers are secure, the people behind them aren't always. Sometimes the threat isn't a hacker breaking in. It's an employee already inside. 2 years ago, the US Federal Trade Commission settled the case with Ring, after investigators discovered that some employees had far too much access to customer video feeds. Isn't any access too much access? They didn't need a warrant. They didn't even need a reason. You became their entertainment and potentially a future income stream for extortion. Investigators found that staff viewed private indoor footage, bedrooms with our most personal moments, living rooms where families relax, all without authorization. Ring eventually added stricter access controls. Though who in the company still gets access and for what? Are there really those who justify the need for that kind of access? Internal audits followed, but by then the damage was done. And since the internet is forever, it's potentially never undone. The people watching weren't strangers in another country. They were on Ring's payroll. It's a reminder that the stranger threatening your privacy doesn't always wear a mask. Sometimes they wear a badge and a company lanyard. Today, the biggest tech firms talk about zero trust architecture and internal oversight. Maybe it's time we start applying a zero trust policy back on them, because no policy can erase what that case revealed. If those with the keys can't resist looking inside, what happens when the watchers stop caring and stop pretending? Concerns about our loss of privacy didn't start with smart homes. Long before all of this, governments were already testing how far the eye could reach. By now, we've all heard about Edward Snowden and what he revealed. If you haven't, there are plenty of videos out there that can bring you up to speed. Officially, the goal of the program he exposed was to train facial recognition systems. But who were they training it on? Ordinary people in their own homes, living ordinary lives. A project meant for national security quietly became a documentary of our everyday lives. You never voted for this. Has anyone ever been held accountable? Has anything stopped? And for those who will say, I'm not doing anything wrong, you're not thinking about misuse, not just by today's agencies, though we already heard stories of inappropriate use back then, but by tomorrow's governments, the ones that might consider you the enemy. What about your family, your son, your young daughter? That history matters because it shows what happens when powerful systems go rogue. Oversight of something that perhaps should never have existed weakens. Missions that were dubious from the start expand. And technology built for protection becomes a window for millions of strangers to watch and catalog our every move. And for what purpose? The same architecture and the same lack of ethics that enabled mass intelligence collection back then now underpins our cloud-connected consumer devices today. The network didn't change, only the watchers did. And now there are millions more of them, uninvited, entertained, and watching at our expense. The worst part isn't always how they get in. It's what they do once they have even a single frame of video. Once footage or access to it is leaked, it becomes a tool for intimidation, for fraud, or for outright extortion. This month, security outlets documented Stealerium, malware, malicious software downloaded to your computer that scans for personal content to weaponize and blackmail schemes. So far, most confirmed victims involve personal computers. But the technique is the same. Any device that records can be turned into leverage the same way. Cyber intelligence groups this year recorded a sharp increase in extortion campaigns threatening to publish our and our children's and our loved ones' most intimate moments. For criminals, video is different. The intimacy of a private clip, a child asleep, a couple arguing, a quiet moment never meant for anyone else becomes something else. It's leverage. It buys attention. It buys compliance. It buys fear. Imagine the power a single clip pushed to the right forum, forwarded to the right inbox. It doesn't need to be viral to be devastating. Do you understand what this growing criminal business model means for you? When privacy breaches hit the news, most people don't pay attention. The headlines always focus on numbers. Boring data with no explanation of how serious this really is for you. How many accounts? How many victims? How many terabytes of stolen data? Yeah, I can feel my eyes glazing over on that one too. But behind those numbers are people. The ones you love, your spouse, your closest friends, your family, you. How much of your life's history just vanishes into someone else's hands? The real damage isn't measured in data. It's measured in anxiety and distrust, in the quiet knowledge that your home isn't really private anymore, and maybe hasn't been for a long time. For those who become victims, life is never the same. Security professionals call it secondary harm. Even if the footage is never leaked, the wondering, what was saved, who might have it, what could they do with it, is enough to change how people move, speak, and trust. These reactions are normal. They're proof of how deeply privacy is tied to safety, to dignity. A blinking light that once meant protection now means exposure, and trust once lost never, if ever, finds its way back. Step back and look at the last few years. A pattern starts to appear. Public institution, children in schools locked out of grades, and who knows what other data was taken or for what malicious purposes. Hospitals forced offline, medical staff panicking as the technology they become dependent on crashes in the middle of emergencies. Corporations hoarding oceans of our data for safety, yet showing the same apathy towards security every single time. Breaches treated like business expenses, priced in, insured, and forgotten. Until the next one. Homes, filling with devices that never stop talking, whispering every detail of our private lives to the world's strangers. thermostats, cameras, doorbells, each one quietly sharing information about the people inside. Every layer, infrastructure, institutions, individuals, depends on the same fragile foundation, the same garbage code and careless systems that have already exposed our loved ones in schools and hospitals. Where does this end? When will the people demanding all this connectivity finally take accountability? Honestly, I doubt they ever will. We're told to update to replace what they call planned obsolescence, to upgrade with promises of improved safety and shiny new AI features. Every patch, every new model, every fresh interface is sold as progress. And yes, updates fix vulnerabilities, but they also expand the volume and the lifespan of data collection. Every new feature means another behavior logged, another pattern analyzed, another fragment of your life stored in a new and novel way. Cyber insurance is booming. Claims keep climbing, and the same firms selling protection profit from the rise. Spending on cybersecurity hits record highs, but so do cybercrimes. Why isn't it working? Follow the money. As they tell us their defenses have improved, the number and complexity of these systems grow even faster. It becomes a treadmill, one we can't step off. We run faster every year, throwing money at disposable consumer tech, chasing a safety that keeps moving just out of reach. It shouldn't be this way, but it is. Until the systems that created this mess are forced to change, all we can do is limit the damage. Keep your firmware updated. Most vulnerabilities are patched quickly once discovered, but only if you install a patch. Use unique strong passwords and two-factor authentication. Yes, you'll forget them. So get a good password manager. It won't stop the system from collecting your data, but it can keep a stranger from using it first. Choose devices with local storage or ones that let you store video on your own network, not in the cloud. Local control doesn't mean full privacy, just one less doorway left open. Disable features you don't need. If you never use voice control or remote viewing, turn them off. Every deactivated feature is one less microphone or camera waiting to wake up and snitch. Check data retention policies. Know how long recordings stay on company servers and who can request them. Segment your home network. Keep smart devices on a separate channel from your personal computers. It's not elegant, but it keeps the infection from spreading. And when it matters most, cover or power off your cameras. None of this is perfect. None of it makes you safe. But doing nothing, that's worse. These steps don't solve the problem. They just buy you time and a sliver of control, while everyone else keeps pretending it's under theirs. The story of technology has always been a story of trade-offs. Every invention that connects us also exposes us. Smart home systems let us watch over what we love, but they also create new ways for strangers to watch us. And if you ever want to live like a Luddite, it will only get harder as everything becomes smart. People need to take time to understand what they're really inviting in before they adopt it. Every connection we make to the cloud, to an app, to a vendor, is another open door. The simplest, most powerful defenses aren't technical. They're awareness, skepticism, and the will to keep asking who benefits from every upgrade, every upload, and every new feature. Whether we like it or not, whether it's for our benefit or not, technology will keep evolving. So must our awareness, and so must our vigilance. A connected home will never be a private one. Do what you can to keep the strangers at bay.
We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweigh the dangers which are cited to justify it.